I just finished watching WWE Bash in Berlin, and let me tell you, if you haven't seen this pay-per-view, you need to go out of your way to watch it. This was excellent in-ring work from start to finish, but we're going to break it all down right here, right now, in my 2024 Bash in Berlin review. So let's start right at the very beginning with Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. And let's also get the big question out of the way. Did Kevin Owens turn heel? No, he didn't, but he could have, and he may still turn heel in the near future. But let's talk about the actual matchup, which, by the way, I loved. It was my favorite match on the night, and I thought the two just worked beautifully in that ring. The story of the matchup is what I loved the most, though, where Kevin Owens announced to all of us on Friday Night SmackDown that Cody Rhodes is hurt. His knee is not at 100%, and Kevin did not want to fight Cody Rhodes unless he was at 100%. Cody then lied to everybody, saying that his knee is fine, it's good to go, and it was proved to all of us that it's not at 100% when he went up to the top turnbuckle in this match, looked to hit a Cody cutter, and his knee gave out. This is where Kevin Owens had a dilemma. He could have either taken advantage of a hurt Cody Rhodes, went after the knee, or he could have looked out for his friend and do everything that he said he was going to do. He doesn't want to be that prize fighter because he knows it leads him into a dark place where he stabs friends in the back, and he doesn't have many friends in this business, so he doesn't want to stab Cody in the back. I mean, granted, he did go outside of the ring just moments later and kick him in the knee, but then he stopped from hitting a pop-up powerbomb on the ring apron. Good guy, Kevin. This ended up being the reason he lost, though. Kevin Owens ended up back inside the ring. Cody Rhodes hit three or four crossroads, something like that, and put away Kevin Owens for the dub. Now, let's talk about after the match. Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes shook hands, which a lot of us thought the heel turn was going to happen right there. Kevin Owens was not a fan of what Cody Rhodes did to him when he went to raise his hand. Kevin's like, no, put my hand down. Cody, you're the winner. Do not raise my hand. Something's going on with Kevin Owens, and I imagine we're going to see him turn on Cody in the next couple of weeks, setting up a match for Bad Blood. But even then, Cody might move on to something else, and Kevin might be left in the dust. Who knows? But regardless, excellent match. Great matchup. My favorite one of the night. And I thought the two just absolutely crushed it. But now let's fast forward all the way to the main event, where it was Randy Orton taking on Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And oh my God, was this amazing. 35 minutes in that ring. An absolute clinic was put on between Orton and Gunther. It was the slow burn main event style matchup that WWE loves. And it was a Randy Orton match to its perfection. Gunther is here, and he is a champion for a reason, because he is one of the best in the world. There is no question in my mind Gunther can go and put on a 5-star classic with literally anybody you put in that ring. He is that damn good. And the fact that they went for 35 minutes without really much of the break in the action, it was just so much fun to watch. Start to finish, hard hitting. Randy Orton on his game, man. He is the biggest he has ever looked in the WWE, and he did not look small next to Gunther whatsoever. Gunther, on the other hand, kind of looked a little smaller against Randy Orton. He wasn't his big imposing self. Randy held his own with Gunther, and as a result, we had a hell of a heavyweight matchup in that main event. Start to finish again, excellent matchup. I have nothing to complain about with this thing. The right person won in the end, with Gunther going over, choking out Randy Orton, making him see stars, and still your world heavyweight champion, Dyngal Gunther. But me saying that right there, I want to go right back to the very start of this matchup, in which kind of like, you know, I'm bouncing you all over the place here with this video, but right to the very start of the matchup, Ludwig Kaiser getting the opportunity to do the intro for Gunther again. I love his presentation. I love the work that he's doing, and I wonder if Ludwig Kaiser might honestly get a feud down the line with Gunther for that World Heavyweight Championship. We're still a long ways from it, but it might happen someday, because he is very, very good in his own right. Let's get into the Terror Twins versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. And I'm going to start out by saying just amazing. Well done to everybody involved. Everybody played their role to perfection, and it was so entertaining to watch. But I have to talk about the Terra Twins, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, because these two are money. WWE's got to be licking their chops, realizing what they have sitting here in front of them. They have a former women's world champion and a former men's world champion partnered together, and they're both dominant as hell. I've never seen anything like this. I don't think you've seen anything like this because it hasn't existed yet. This is brand spanking new. And now I know a lot of people are like, well, why are we booking them so strong? It's like the entire Judgment Day is getting buried. I don't see it that way, because the Judgment Day is still fine doing whatever they do, but Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest need to be taken seriously. We need to establish them as like these dominant baby faces. And how do you do that? Well, you make them dominant. You have them destroy a group. You have them beat the numbers game, and they did exactly that here tonight. Now, I will talk a little bit about Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, because both of them have progressed beautifully in that ring. And Dominic Mysterio especially, if you look at where he's at now versus where he was as the North American champion, it's night and day. Dominic has actually arrived as a very, very good in-ring performer, and this was his best performance to date yet, in my opinion. Liv Morgan, we've seen some great performances from her, and again, she delivered in this one. But like we know what we get with Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio is more of the question mark right now, and I love to see him progressing. There was a moment where I thought they were going to put Dominic Mysterio clean over Damian Priest when Finn Balor interjected himself into this matchup, took out Damian. Dominic Mysterio climbed up to the top rope, hit a frog splash, and the hand almost hit 3. The ref's hand coming down 1, 2, and Damian kicks out at like 2.9. It was such a late kick out, and it was beautiful. We were that close to seeing Dominic Mysterio pin Damian Priest clean, and I think he's going to hold that over Damian, saying, hey, that close. Now, where do we go from here with this? Well, obviously, Bad Blood is coming up in a little bit of time, and we've got some rivals right here with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Now, with Rhea Ripley pinning Liv Morgan for the win, we can probably assume that we're going to get a matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship between those two at Bad Blood. And I also imagine we're probably going to see Damian Priest versus Finn Balor fight at Bad Blood as well. I would love it if we could see Dominic Mysterio hanging over top of the ring for Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's matchup in a shark cage. I know people want it to be a Hell in a Cell matchup. I think it's going to be Drew and Punk that get the Hell in a Cell matchup. So this right here with Dominic hanging above in a shark cage would add a whole different element to it as well. And that also opens up the door maybe for returning Raquel Rodriguez to partner with Liv Morgan. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Regardless, this match was excellent. In the end, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley picked up the win, and it was a really, really entertaining match, one that you should definitely go check out. Now, let's talk quickly about the women's tag team title match between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union. And now this match wasn't really anything to write home about. It wasn't bad. It was solid, but it certainly was Jade Cargill's best performance to date. I really enjoyed her performance in this one, saving the hot tag for her. Bianca Belair, by the way, sold her ass off for most of this matchup and made Jade Cargill look great as a result because she was taking all the damage, and then Jade got in there and just wreaked havoc. So shout out to Bianca Belair for doing what she did in this matchup for Jade. But Jade Cargill, when she did get that hot tag, oh boy, did she deliver. It was very impressive, very fun to watch. And in the end, we saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill recapture the women's tag team titles, pinning the Unholy Union and ending their title reign. Now, I just got to say right here, Unholy Union, thank you so very much for your title reign. It was fun while it lasted, but you got the titles because you were in Scotland, right? They gave you the hometown crowd win, and now it's time to get the titles back onto Bianca and Jade, where I believe that they are bigger stars and they can make the titles feel a little more important. Who knows, though, who's going to go up and challenge them? Because as of right now, there's not really a lot of options. I guess you got the Pure Fusion Collective. You've got, you got Damage Control. But we're really starting to struggle beyond there. I guess they could do something like Nia and Tiffany if they really wanted to, but there's not a lot of direction for the women's tag team titles right now. Which brings me to my other point. We need to reintroduce the women's tag team titles in NXT. It just needs to happen. There's not enough tag teams being developed down in NXT who can come up to the main roster now, ever since they took those women's tag titles away. So it's time to reestablish them. Let's get those women's tag titles down there in NXT. There's so much talent who could use that type of highlight. So yeah, that's one way we could help build back up this division. But in the end, regardless, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, big dub, and new women's tag team champions. And last but certainly not least, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in a strap match. And oh my God, I'll say it right here. That was my favorite strap match I have ever seen. Going into this, I was not excited for it. I gotta be real with you. I was excited to see Drew and CM Punk fight again, but the strap match with the four corners is not something that I've really loved in the past. Every time I think of this matchup, I think of Savio Vega versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's not that great of a matchup. And I was like, oh my God, are we going to see something like this? Is it just going to be another one of those matchups where the people are just like, oh my God, I can tap the corner over here if I just reach a little harder. Just, there we go. We got one. I wasn't sure if it was going to be something like that, and I'm glad it wasn't. At points, there was some moments I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't love strap matches, because you could literally see CM Punk and Drew McIntyre trying to reach out to tap that final corner, and both of them arms were not fully extended. They weren't really trying to tap it. So it's just one of those things when I watch these matches, I get taken out of them, similar to like watching a kendo stick on a pole match or something, just people trying to reach up and climb for something that's just within their fingertips, and they for some reason won't take another step, or they won't move a little closer or whatever. So it takes me out of the matches. But this one, again, I really did think it was a great matchup, and the strap match added a whole level of physicality to this feud that was kind of needed. They moved it outside of the ring. They went down to the floor for about 5-7 minutes in this matchup, and I thought that was the perfect break from being in the ring. When they moved outside of the ring to the floor, that gave this feud the level of like, oh my God, these guys really hate each other. We knew they didn't like each other before. In fact, you could say they absolutely did hate each other, but this really made it seem like they detested each other, like they just wanted to rip each other apart. Great moment in the matchup, using the strap as a weapon and then getting back inside the ring. Well, let's talk about the finish here, where CM Punk got Drew McIntyre up on his shoulders, hit the GTS, and then went around and tapped two corners. He thought that's not enough, so he lifted up Drew again for another GTS, tapped the third corner, thought that still wasn't enough, that Drew McIntyre was still somehow breathing, and so he went over to his essentially carcass on the ground, took the bracelet back that Drew McIntyre took from CM Punk, lifted him up, hit a third GTS, put him down into the mat, and there you go. Taps on the final corner, and that is it. CM Punk wins the strap match, and the series is evened up at 1-1, setting up what I believe is going to be a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. But man, what a matchup it was. What a pay-per-view this was. It was great from start to finish, and I hope you enjoyed as well. But if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so you never miss another upload, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I have the hot takes video coming up very soon, so if you see this video, make sure you go check me out over on twitter.com/conman167 and go drop a follow over there and leave a reply for my hot takes video. But that was a great pay-per-view, man. I loved it start to finish. The crowd, especially the crowd. Oh my God, how did I not mention the crowd? The crowd was electric. The crowd was so good. Germany, you brought it. Thank you for bringing it. But that's it for us. All right, take care, everyone. Once again, leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you guys very soon.